where no one wakes in the morning
asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die of
diseases we know how to cure,
and where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone goes to school
and education gives us the knowledge
and skills
for a fulfilling life. We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities to thrive
and be powerful and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is held back.
We will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
and proper toilets
at home, at school, and at work.
We will live in a world where
there is sustainable energy for everyone,
heat, light,
and power for the whole planet
without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper.
And new wealth
leads to decent jobs
for everyone.
And we will live in a world
where our industry,
our infrastructure, and our
best innovations
are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world where prejudices and extremes of inequality are defeated.
Inside our countries
and between different countries.
Where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
Where we replace
what we consume.
Planet where we put back
what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back
threat climate change.
Where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. Where we restore and protect
life on land,
the forests,
animals,
the earth itself.
With peace between and inside countries.
Where all governments are open.
and answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people
work together
in partnerships of all kinds
to make these goals a reality for everyone.
We can be.
We must be the first generation
to end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice
and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
A 15-year plan
for everyone, everywhere.
With no one left behind.
We will live in a world
where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one wakes in the morning
asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die of
diseases we know how to cure,
and where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone goes to school
and education gives us the knowledge
and skills
for a fulfilling life. We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities to thrive
and be powerful and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is held back.
We will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
and proper toilets
at home, at school, and at work.
We will live in a world where
there is sustainable energy for everyone,
heat, light,
and power for the whole planet
without destroying the planet.
We will live in a world where economies prosper.
And new wealth
leads to decent jobs
for everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry,
our infrastructure, and our
best innovations
are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world where prejudices and extremes of inequality are defeated.
inside our countries
and between different countries.
Where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
Where we replace
what we consume.
Planet where we put back
what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back
threat climate change.
Where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. Where we restore and protect
life on land,
the forests,
animals,
the earth itself.
With peace between and inside countries.
Where all governments are open
and answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people
work together
in partnerships of all kinds
to make these goals a reality for everyone, everywhere.
These are the United Nations global goals
for sustainable development.
Let's get to work.
Let's make it happen.
When you are named the faith keeper of the Onondaga Council of Chiefs, and for me, it was 51 years ago, you are told that we are now placing in your hands all life, and it is your responsibility to look after all life. Every person, every tree, every animal, every stream, and the earth itself, unto the seventh generation. In 1972, the world started a process that is mapping our future. The United Nations Conference on the Human Environment held in Stockholm brought the industrialized and developing nations together to delineate the rights of people to a healthy and productive environment.
The environmental crisis will profoundly alter our planet.
Fossil fuels is slowly warming the globe.
Our report is founded upon the concept of sustainable development.
We all have two hands and the sentiment of the world.
Now I wonder if they will even exist.
We are plundering our children's heritage for our present unsustainable practices.
Notre maison brûle.
The key is to come out from Johannesburg with a credible commitment to action.
Now is your moment
to save ourselves and the planet for our children.
We can fix this. We can stop this madness.
Accelerated climate change is here right now.
I will link arms with those marching for climate action.
We, baby, are going to fight. Mommy, Daddy, your president too. We will all fight.
We are experiencing a process that is linking our nations and communities much more closely together than they have ever been before. Our lives are intertwined via the food we eat, the music we listen to, the information we get, and the ideas we hold. Last year, the world's leaders unanimously committed to eliminate extreme poverty, address climate change, and build more resilient societies. In the Agenda 2030, we have a blueprint for sustainable development. Now the real work and the real opportunities begin. The potential offered by these new Sustainable Development Goals and the binding treaty on climate change is immense.
It is a new chapter of hope for the world.
It is we, the peoples, who are embarking today on a journey towards a more sustainable and equitable future. Our journey will involve governments, the United Nations system, and other
Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning, wherever you're joining us from, every part of Nigeria where you're joining us from Southwest, from South-South, from Southeast, from North Central, from the North. Good morning and welcome to the Cohort 6 of SDSN. We are glad and we are pleased to have you become part of the SDG Advocate Programme for this cohort. And it is with great enthusiasm that we welcome you to the SDG Advocate Programme Cohort 6 information session. Today marks the beginning of an exciting journey for every one of you. And I would love, before we start and move forward, if you can, in 1 minute, script out on the comment section, write your name, your full, and the state where you're joining from. And one thing, how you would describe your morning. Like, how does it feel like being part of this program this morning? To me, it is a great privilege to be part of this cohort again. I was part of last year's cohort, and I'll be moderating for this year's cohort again. And it's an opportunity for me to learn, relearn, and unlearn from some things that I learned from last year. So take a minute and write out your name in the comment section, your name, the state where you're joining from. And one thing we love to describe today. So today marks the beginning of an exciting journey for each one of you. I mean, some of you have been advocates, you've been doing some projects, but to some, it's an introduction to becoming an active change maker in communities, driving forward the vision of the Sustainable Development Goals. And the SDG Advocate Programme is more than just a platform. It is a movement of passionate individuals. I'm sure that you all must have been in one WhatsApp group or the other. I heard the WhatsApp group is full, but we'll try and see how we can create another one for those that are yet to join, to be able to join the new one, because it is a movement of passionate individuals that are dedicated to solving global challenge through the local actions. And as an advocate, you are stepping into a network of dynamic leaders who have made significant contributions to climate action, gender equality, quality education, and so many other different parts of the SDG goals. You might see someone that your goals align, what you're working on align together. It's an opportunity to network with one another and do projects. And sometimes it might be an opportunity for you to venture and to launch into the space of running projects. You learn how to run projects, you learn how to, you're going to be test running your capacity of what you've been learning by doing your school project. And then from there, who knows, I also started my program, my book drive program started through the honest school project that I did at the SDG Advocate Program. And now it became a project and a program that is one to be reckoned with in my community. So I would advise you to take this opportunity and do not just take it with levity, take it with seriousness and make the most out of it. So today's session is just the information session, just like it's designed to just equip you with the knowledge and the tools that you will need, all the things that you need, all the questions that you want to ask, what is expected of you to do. And it's not going to take most of our time. And you will also learn from past alums that will share their testimony. They will be here to share the testimony on what and how the SDG Advocate Program have been able to what the SDG Advocate Program has been able to shape their leadership journey. So sit back, enjoy, relax, and make the best of it. I encourage you to be fully engaged. Please ask questions as much as you can and try to start envisioning how you want this program to be like for you. My name is Janet Olaolu, and I'm the project lead for this Cohort 6. Also, you'll be seeing more of my faces and in your DM, sometimes in the WhatsApp groups, and you'll be seeing me moderate some of the sessions. So it's nice to be here. And then quickly, because of our time, apologies. Okay, I hope everybody can see me and can hear me. So quickly, we move to the next on the agenda, which is opening ceremony remark, which will be done by Professor Labode Bukbola. He is the network chair of SDSN Nigeria. Please, with a virtual applause, make use of the emojis, make use of the chat box. With a virtual applause, welcome Professor Labode Bukbola.
Good morning from Nairobi. How are you all doing? I'm glad to be with you this morning. And I want to say, Nzuri, how are you? That's what I'm saying in Swahili. I can see that you're quite few on the call, but I have to do my bit as I moved from one meeting to join this one, and I want to go back to that meeting. So it's for me a great joy and pleasure to welcome you to the 6th cohort of the SDGs Advocate Programme. Please, I hope I'm being heard. I hope I'm being heard.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir.
Great. Okay, great. So I want to congratulate all of you for being selected into this program, a very interesting program that has been on for a number of years. As you may well know, in the year 2015, world leaders came together to adopt the SDGs. And these were very bold and ambitious roadmap, which were designed to tackle the world's most pressing challenges. The goals aim to bridge inequalities, they aim to drive sustainable progress, and they aim to build a better future for all of us. Unfortunately, as we draw close to the end of the agenda, we need to remind ourselves that time for action is now. We have not been able to really bridge the gaps that we envisaged we will be able to bridge. The goals are still not unmet. In most cases, the performances have been suboptimal. And we still face a lot of challenges. We're facing the challenges of climate change. We're facing the challenges of poverty, social injustice. There are multiple conflicts and crises across the globe. And all of these cannot be solved in isolation. We need collaboration. We need commitment. We also need strategic partnership. These are all the key we need to accelerate the progress that we desire. I want to welcome you once again. And this is where you people come in, the 6th cohort of the SDGs Advocate. This program was designed in 2022, and we had a clear vision to build a community of exceptionally young leaders who will champion and promote the SDGs implementation nationwide. The program is not just about learning, it is about transforming knowledge into action and impact. The specific objectives of the SDGs Advocate Programme are: 1, to improve the awareness and theoretical knowledge of Nigerian youth about the SDGs and their roles in its implementation. For this cohort, 2,981 passionate advocates have been selected and onboarded. 2, incorporate sustainable development into schools nationwide by training young advocates on the incorporation of the SDGs education into schools and other forms of engagement in their local communities. Over 1,000 primary and secondary schools nationwide will be engaged in this. Number 3, develop new and strengthen existing youth networks to domesticate, engage, and monitor the implementation of the SDGs. The selected participants of this cohort cut across the 36 states of Nigeria. Over the next 16 weeks, you will gain invaluable knowledge, connect with like-minded changemakers, and implement real projects that create tangible impact in schools and communities. I want to urge you to fully commit to this experience, especially the Own a School project and community-based activities in phases 2 and 3 of the program. These are moments where real change will happen, and that change begins with you. At the end of this program, every successful participant will be awarded a globally recognized SDGs Advocate certificate. You will gain exclusive membership access to the SDGs Advocate Network, and you will join a growing community of young leaders shaping the future of sustainable development, not only in Nigeria, but across the globe. This is more than a program. It is a lifetime investment in your growth, your impact to society, and your own future. The opportunities ahead are boundless, and I want to encourage you to seize them with passion and purpose. I therefore, on behalf of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, SDSN Nigeria, extend my warmest congratulations and welcome you all to Cohort 6 of the SDGs Advocate Programme. Please, let us build the future we all desire and deserve. I wish you an enriching and impactful experience. Good luck and God bless you all. Good afternoon from Nairobi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a great one coming from the mouth of someone that has been a part and parcel of this program. Thank you so much. And just like I said earlier, I said we have thousands and thousands and thousands of people that has passed through this same river and have been washed clean and are doing great things out there. And one of them is Madam Lovett, who will be coming out right now to share a testimonial on how the fellowship, how the program, how the SDG program had impacted her and her career. Please, Lovett, if you're ready, can you unmute your microphone and your video, and let's see your beautiful face.
Okay. Okay, that's me. Hello.
Hello.
Okay.
Nice
I first of all want to say thank you to you and SDSN for this honor. Thank you so much. And I'll say thank you to Mr. Emmanuel. I really appreciate this honor. Okay, so thank you to all the people watching, to the changemakers and the young leaders. Very grateful to see people, always wanting to be part of the fold. Okay, to go straight to my story. I was part of the last cohort for the SDG Advocacy Programme. My first encounter with the SDGs, or even because I'm a climate advocate, my first encounter with climate change, climate action as a concept was at a portal with the UN Live Museum. And, I was invited for a conversation. You see everybody in the room, and even the portal we're connected to at Utrecht, there was a lot of conversations about SDGs, about climate change. And I was just there like mind blown, because you see these things happen, but you don't even know that it's conceptualized to that. Don't get me wrong, I knew what SDGs were before then, but like the concept, like seeing it in, hearing it in that way, that connection, it sparked something in me, because I'd always been one for social impact, right? But I'd never really niched down to, what I do now, climate advocacy. So I applied for the SDG Advocacy Programme. I got in, and trust me, that was the foundation for where I am today. We went through a whole program. I always call it an incubation, where we had, speakers come and address us, learned amazing stuff, and then we had the two projects that were my pioneer, should I say my launching project into the advocacy space. There was the webinar that we're supposed to carry out, and there was the Own a School project. So for the webinar, that was got me a connection of a lifetime. My mentor, I invited him to speak for my webinar. It was something that put me out there. And when I was doing all these things, I did it with so much intentionality. I wasn't even bothered about who's seeing me, what is seeing me, but I didn't know that people were being inspired by that. To me, I was just doing my assignment and, trying to make impact too. So the webinar was a great platform, a great way of making impact, right? Then the Own a School project, we had to go to any school and tell them about SDGs, that was, a great way to connect. It was, for me, it was a very intentional process, and it was a very, emotional process for me too, because, seeing students want to learn more, I pictured myself there, okay, enough of my yapping. Moving forward, I've been able to unlock so many things through those projects that we did, because there's this thing of perfectionism where you want to wait until things are so perfect before you launch. But that project, when you have a deadline and you're supposed to do a webinar or go to school, you don't even think of perfectionism. You just do it. And that was what happened. It has helped me to achieve most of the projects that I have in terms of social impact. I hosted a physical symposium on climate change in my final year at school. That's not something that you just sit down and do. It's because of the foundation that I already had. I'm now one of the alumni for the Climate Diplomacy Academy by Conrad at the University of Tifton, where we went through a whole process of learning, climate diplomacy and advocacy, and, went on a fully sponsored trip to Kenya for training through this platform. If I didn't have the certificate, like, I'm an SDG Advocate by UNSDSN, I'm not sure I would have got to that. And then, on and on, I am in NESUG Eco Champion. That's the Nigerian Environmental Summit Group. And guess how my work for only school project was highlighted. And it's not just, of course, I have done things after then. I have done, because I was very passionate about learning. I just wanted to learn and learn and learn. I did a lot of volunteering, by the way. So, I just want to say that this program was my foundation, or is my foundation. And if I did not have this platform, it would have taken me longer to get to where I am today. So I just want to say thank you. And I want to encourage everyone here that please be intentional about it. Be intentional about, fulfilling what you're asked to do. I don't know what the assignment is for this cohort, but don't look at it as, just fulfilling our righteousness. Be intentional about impact, right? We're all advocates at the end of the day, and we want to make impact. So I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. Janet, are you there? Oh, okay.
Thank you. That was beautiful and inspiring. Thank you for sharing. It's so beautiful. Oh, God. I'm very sure people out there are like, hey, I want to be like Lovett as well. Her story just inspired me because your story inspired all of us, just same as mine as well. The book drive I started in my constituency, in my community, started through the SDG Advocate Programme as well. I wouldn't have thought I've been able to do it because I went for the honor school project just like you did, just like every other person. And I noticed the students wanted to know more. They were even asking questions and all of that. And I'm like, okay, why can't we just start a book drive? And a lot of great people in the community were ready to support the drive and support the project. Thank you so much, Lovers, for sharing. It's so beautiful to hear that you're doing well in this. And we hope to have more of Lovett in this cohort.
All right.
So quickly, we move to the next on the agenda. Okay, yes, we have the next it's not just Lovett. I told you we have more of Lovett in the house. And because of our time, we will not have, if you allow us, we would have been able to give us the time, of course. We will bring like 20, 50, 100 past advocates, past alums that would gladly want to come and share their testimony. But today we will just be sharing with you just two people that will be coming up on board. And the next person is Anita Izenia. Anita, can you speak? Anita? Yes. Okay, I heard Anita is trying to rejoin. Please, Anita, if you can hear me, I'd love to have you come on board. Funny, I'm in the same space with Anita, and I saw her briefly just to go. Okay. Let me give Anita a minute to see if she can speak. And if she can't, maybe we'll come back to her later, but we have to, right now, we have Mr. Raquel waiting on the call to share with us. Okay, Anita, so now I can move on. Anita will come back later. I think she's busy for right now. Let's have Mr. Raquel, the Programs Associate Networks and Youth SDSN share his Goodwill message with us. Mr. Raquel, please.
Thank you so much, Janet, and thank you.
Oh, sorry, apology. I did say beautiful, Raquel.
Can you hear me?
Nice to have you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you, please. Go on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Janet, and thank you to Emmanuel and the whole SDGs Youth Nigeria team for the work that they have been doing. I'm delighted to be here as a speaker to kick off this incredible initiative and representing SDGs, but also as the lead of SDGs Youth. It is an incredible honor to see the work that SDGs Youth Nigeria has been doing in order to mobilize young people in the country for the SDGs. And I want to start my intervention actually by congratulating all of you who have been selected for this program. I have no doubts that if you have been selected, it's because you are already showing incredible abilities and incredible talents to be community leaders and agents of change. And your commitment to making a difference in your communities is very, very, very inspiring. I think it really reflects the potential that each of you hold to drive positive transformation. And today's event and your selection of as SDG advocates of SDGs Youth Nigeria is not a significant step only for your communities or for the country, but it's also a significant step for the global youth movement for sustainability. At SDGs, we are committed to mobilizing all population groups and specifically youth, because you are the ones who will inherit our planet, and you are the ones who will be leading the development of innovative and transformative solutions for a prosperous world. As you all know, youth not only have the potential, but they have the passion, the creativity, the determination to push boundaries and challenge the current realities. And you, all of you, as dedicated advocates and changemakers, embody these great qualities. I know that the upcoming 16 weeks as you embark in this cohort and the upcoming months, and probably for the rest of your lifetime, as Lovette has very kindly shared, you're going to be leading by example and driving innovation and inspire others to take action. And why is it so important that you learn about the SDGs? Well, the 2030 Agenda and its SDGs are more than simple goals that we need to achieve. They are a framework for building and shaping a prosperous future and society. As Professor Labode has said at the beginning, there's significant challenges, but if we involve youth, I'm pretty sure that we can get through them. And especially with half of the population in the world being under the age of 30, and in Nigeria, around 70% of the population being under the age of 30, it's clear that these are the people who are going to shape our future, the future of our planet. And it's going to be with your ideas, your decisions, your actions. So it's critical that you get the tools, the resources, and the opportunities to make informed, sustainable solutions. And this only can be done through education and collaboration. The power of education to transform societies is undeniable. And if you have the necessary training and the resources to understand the 2030 Agenda, but also the necessary support network, you can achieve incredible things. So this program is a perfect example of how through it you can lead the movement. And at this point, I know that most of these things might sound very familiar, and it's because it's a conversation that has been going on for far too long. However, as the current international arena evolves, we are seeing that we need a critical shift. And while 2024 marked a great year for many of actions still to be taken, global challenges like climate change, inequality, or the digital transformations have intensified. And there is growing recognition that the solutions must be led by those who will be the most affected, you, the youth. This is no longer just a matter of discussion, it's also a call for immediate and meaningful action. It was just 6 months ago, actually, that the Summit of the Future was celebrated and the Pact of the Future was adopted with new priorities for the SDGs and for also shaping the post-2030 world. And among these priorities, youth and future generations were actually highlighted as one of the key pillars for global actions. This acknowledgement by member states in Africa, member states in Europe, in the Americas, in Asia Pacific, is a very, very powerful signal. Youth are no longer just an afterthought in international policy discussions. They are now crucial players in shaping the future. We are at a critical moment in history where we need to have young people at the table. And today's ceremony and the opening of the 6th cohort of the SDGs Advocate Programme is a perfect representation of how we can start creating change. Preparing the youth is essential. Nigeria has shown tremendous potential and commitment to the SDGs, and I am confident that with all of you, and in a few months when you're graduated as official advocates of the SDGs, that you're going to keep improving the country, but also the world. And remember that each one of you is unique, and each one of you can bring fresh perspectives, innovative ideas, and energy to the table. The fact that SDGs Youth Nigeria, and I want to acknowledge their work again, so congratulations to Emmanuel and all the team, but the fact that they have made awareness about SDGs and the establishment of this program and the continuation of this program a priority speaks volumes on how they recognize the importance of equipping young people with the necessary skills to become change makers. So as you step into this cohort, be reminded that you're being prepared to lead the sustainable movement. Your leadership reflects a commitment to the goals themselves, but also to create an inclusive, equitable, and sustainable future for all human beings. I know that you're not just here to lead, you're here to inspire, to collaborate, and to empower all the young people. So I'm sure that once you start with this program, you're going to create a ripple effect that can extend beyond each of your states, beyond the borders of Nigeria. Your efforts will contribute to a stronger, more resilient network that will position Nigerian youth as key players in the international movement. So today, as we witness the start of this transformative journey, and as we mark the official launch of the 6th cohort of the SDG Advocates Programme, I have no doubt that this initiative will become a driving force for change, both locally and globally. I wish you the best of luck for the following weeks, and don't forget to embrace the opportunities ahead. Never underestimate the power of your voice and your actions, and stay curious, stay resilient, and always seek to learn from those around you. Your potential is limitless, and I can wait to see the incredible impact that you're going to make. Please join me in celebrating each of you in this great milestone, and let's continue to support, uplift, and empower all of you to be the change maker that our world so urgently needs. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you for that goodwill message. And a very good morning to you all. From whichever state you are joining us from this morning. And on behalf of the leadership of SDSN Nigeria, I want to say a very big congratulations to every advocate that has made it to this space. And this morning, I think it's been a mind-blowing session for each and every one of us. I want to believe that. My name is Emmanuel Laoluyo. And thank you so much, Professor Labode Pupola, for the opening remarks. Thank you for the charge you've shared with us. And we hope to be the change makers who are going to be accelerating the 2030 agenda for sustainable development in Nigeria and ensuring that the progress is being made across different states in Nigeria. And without further ado, I'll be glad, before I move to the information session, my role here this morning is to give us an overview of what the information and all the activities of this program is all about. And before I get to do that, I just quickly want to bring up our esteemed special guest of honor for today, in person of Mr. Roland. And we are so glad and honored to have you on this call this morning, sir. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for being part of this ceremony. And Mr. Roland, Mr. Roland is the director for United Nations Information Center in Abuja, Nigeria. And we are so glad to have you this morning as a keynote speaker. And I want to believe that you are ready to deliver on your speech. I think I will give over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, very well. But before you start, I think Professor quickly want to say something in connecting with you. Why?
Roland, I'm very sorry I didn't recognize you in my address. I'm sorry about it. I just want to thank you for accepting to be part of this process. So asante sana, we're very grateful to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. And let me also start by congratulating the advocates, all those who are going to help us to spread the news about the Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. When I was asked to speak at this event, I thought the starting point was, it was important to give a bit of the background of this whole idea of sustainable development, and then, talk a bit about where we are and why we need everyone to ensure that we at least reach most of the targets of the Agenda 2030, which was agreed at the United Nations in 2015. Let me start with the background. When the Agenda 2030 was agreed at the UN, it was a culmination of a long journey, a journey of ideas, a journey of discussions, a journey of debates around definitions of development, what development is all about, and how we should look at development. Many countries, even in the 50s, 60s, were already starting to prosper. But questions started to emanate from scholars and commentators and advocates around the world, talking about the importance of caring about our environment as we strive to bring prosperity to our countries. Discussions around how we use energy, which powers production, increasing the GDP of our countries, and discussions around how we power transportation in the countries, things like that. How we treat forests as we use timber to increase our productivity. So people started to question these things. Those, as far as we can tell, discussions started like in the late 50s. Then more discussions and debates came in the 60s and in the 70s. And this started now to draw in the United Nations. And that led to the very first conference on environment, which was held in Stockholm in 1972. That conference was a milestone. It was the first time that at global level, issues of development and the environment were discussed by a whole range of stakeholders. It fed from people in academia, people in the private sector, people in policy making, people in the civil society, talking a lot about these issues. So 1972 conference in Sweden was a landmark one, because that's where many things started to be taken seriously. And indeed, that is when the UN Environment Programme, UNEP, was established. And indeed, it was very important because then a lot of work in studies and so on went on. But there was a feeling that still more needed to be done. And people continued to debate these issues. And in 1983, the UN Secretary General formed what was then called the World Commission on Environment and Development. This commission was so important because it was the first time that this phrase, sustainable development, was defined. It had been talked about even from the conference in Stockholm, but a lot of work was done by this commission, which was led by a former Norwegian Prime Minister called Brundtland. And they are the ones who produced a report in 1986. That report popularized the sustainable development we even talk about today. That commission defined sustainable development as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. That increased debate, discussions, global focus on issues of sustainable development. Going through the 90s, we saw acceleration in terms of discussions. So remember the Earth Summit, which happened in Rio. They came up with Agenda 21, and the aim of Agenda 21 of the goals was to achieve sustainable development by the year 2000. So Agenda 21 there was referring to the 21st century, so that by the start of this 21st century, we should have reached or achieved sustainable development. But in addition to that, a lot of landmark decisions were made in the period in the 90s, including the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. So in studying sustainable development, there was a lot of concern now to the planet and how the climate was changing. And that's why we came up with the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, or the UNFCCC, what we call the UN Climate these days, based in Bonn. And continuing then, in 2002, there was that conference in Johannesburg, again on the environment and sustainable development, and the Rio +20, which was the conference on sustainable development, again in Brazil. Actually, it was at this conference that the details of what we now have as Agenda 2030 and the sustainable development were honed out. You remember that before that we had the Millennium Development Goals between 2000 and 2015, but at that time, 2012, there was work towards a post-2015 development agenda. And the feeling was that this was now the time to bring sustainable development as a major paradigm in terms of development. So we came to the Sustainable Development Goals. So as I said, the processes of discussion among member states, including people from academia, studies, or a lot of work by civil society organizations, many strong civil society organizations, a lot of agreements about biodiversity conservation, how to deal with drought and desertification, and all that had become really key talking points. But for me, what is important is if you look at the Millennium Development Goals, the issues of sustainable development were not top on the agenda. It was not the central issue. It was after Rio +20 in Brazil, that now the focus by all players became sustainable development. So it was so important that the member states of the United Nations, in dealing with the post-2015 development agenda, decided to focus on what was now called Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals. Those goals we always talk about, and all of you are going to be advocates of these goals. And these are goals which focus on people. Those goals from goal 1 up to goal 6 really focus on people. We have goals which focus on our planet. Goal 16, which focuses on peace. Goals which focus on prosperity, and one goal which focuses on partnerships. So sustainable development then became a dominant paradigm in development. Not that we were not talking sustainable development all through, but now, and I think it is probably the major achievement, henceforth, I don't think we will only be talking about development considering only prosperity, but it will always be development in tandem with the environment and the impact on the people. So that is a long way to give you a background to where we are now. A lot of things happen. The world moves a bit slowly. You can imagine if we started being serious about sustainable development in 1972 or in 1986, or in the Agenda 21 actually, which aimed to achieve sustainable development by 2021. But by the beginning of the 21st century, it would have been far ahead. But this is where we are. After the launch of the Sustainable Development Goals, the world has gone through a number of challenges. We had the COVID pandemic, which devastated the world. Now we had the conflicts, conflict in Ukraine. Now we have many conflicts around the world. A number of things have slowed us down. A study that was done last year showed us that only 17% of the targets are on track. So you can imagine with only 5 years left, if only 17% of the targets are on track, a lot of work needs to be done. So if we can double our efforts, at least to reach 80% by 2030, the profs and the other teachers here can tell you that 80% is a good mark. We will say that the world has achieved excellently. And we feel it is possible for us to double our efforts to campaign, plan, and take action to achieve this sustainable development through this framework, the Sustainable Development Goals. So having seen all this within the UN, we said that we have only 5 years left. We need to turbocharge the process to accelerate the Sustainable Development Goals so that we don't miss this opportunity. So we said that in order to accelerate the achievement of the goals, let's look at areas that countries really need to focus on as a matter of urgency that will help us to achieve those goals. So we have come up with 6 thematic areas that we think if we focus on them seriously around the world, we will be able to make a dent, or at least to achieve most of our goals. One of those is climate action. That if we do what we need to do in adaptation and mitigation of climate change, that will greatly assist us in achieving our goals. The second one is education. Education is a great enabler. If we educate our people with quality education, young people will get jobs, we will improve our systems, and that will cut across in everything we want to achieve in the Sustainable Development Goals. The third one is food systems. As you know, many countries of the world are not doing well when it comes to food security, including here in Nigeria. But we can improve food systems, the whole production, the food system value chains, so that we don't lose food, whether at the production level, post-harvest, or even from supermarkets or markets, wherever we get the food. So the food systems is a very important. It's an enabler. It's in the way to fight poverty and enables our people to have good health. So that one is an area that we think that we look at. Nutrition helps us to be healthy and helps us to fight poverty and helps us in dealing with the environment through smart agriculture and the technologies ahead of that we have today. The other area is access to affordable and clean energy. Energy is very important in the production processes for us to increase prosperity. Another area is jobs and social protection. The world, especially Africa, is largely a young world. Africa, Nigeria is young. Young people need jobs. Young people, not only young people, but all the vulnerable populations need social protection. That's an important area. And finally, the digital economy, especially in these days of artificial intelligence, but also what the digital economy can help us to make sure that we achieve all other goals. So we see these 6 areas as those areas that can help us to accelerate as catalysts to enable us achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Again, as I said, we only have 5 years. So if we invest in them, we will achieve the goals. But all that requires funding. You need money to move these things. And in last year, as all of you may be aware, the member states of the United Nations held what we call the Summit of the Future. They came up with what we call the Pact for the Future. And one of the actions in the Pact for the Future are those various actions to increase financing for sustainable development. A lot of money is needed to do. You remember at COP29, when developing countries were asking for something up to $1.3 trillion, and member states agreed on $300 billion a year to finance actions related to just the climate crisis. But we need to finance our countries in various ways in order to achieve the goals. So that one is an important area that the UN is focusing on, financing for sustainable development. And indeed, there will be an important summit in Spain in July to deal with these issues. So advocates on sustainable development goals should remember the financing aspect. Financing through generating resources at country level, generating resources from the private sector, ensuring that we deal with issues around corruption so that the funds go into the actions for us to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. As advocates of the Sustainable Development Goals, we must focus on this issue of financing. As you talk about the areas that I've said are the areas that help us to accelerate, let us not forget the financing issue. And financing doesn't mean that you wait for donors to give you money, but financing means a lot. And as I said, it is clearly spelled out in the Pact for the Future. Things like generating local resources, things like working with the private sector, things like ensuring that you reduce corruption, because in many African countries especially, but globally also, a lot of money is wasted through corruption. But also making sure that we monitor together with all other actors on how our finances are spent. 2 major things are going to happen in Nigeria this year. One, Nigeria is conducting what we call voluntary national review of the progress being made in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. I ask that the advocates get involved in this process. 2, Nigeria is doing what we call nationally determined contributions. The third one, This one shows how Nigeria is committed to mitigation and adaptation as it refers to climate change. And I hope our advocates will be involved in all these processes. Those are key things that Nigeria is embarking on that all our advocates should be aware of and in a way also involved. We need voices, especially of young people, around these key issues. Let me end this long talk by saying that all is not gloom. Challenges are there, but I can say that our major achievement has been establishing this global movement on sustainable development, which, as I said, there had been some talk starting from as far back as the 50s around this issue on sustainable development. And then the rest was more discussions that included government, some in academia, member states, but the common person didn't feel so much a discussion around sustainable development. Even in the 90s, where there was a lot of progress, it was largely the governments and maybe some NGOs and people in academia in the fields that relate to this were discussing this. But now with Agenda 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals, you hear many people, even the common person, talking about sustainable development, talking about the SDGs. For me, this is a very important achievement. It means that in future, anyone will ask you that as you plan development, how is this going to impact the people? How is this going to impact our environment? How are we making sure that we protect the planet? So for me, that alone is a big achievement. And if we have more advocates to spread this important information about sustainable development as a development paradigm, it is very, very important as an achievement. But yes, it is also important that this paradigm moves from the theory of sustainable development to impact people in their lives. And that's what the Sustainable Development Goals do. They do affect and impact people in their lives, in their education, in their health, in the way they receive energy, in the way they handle plastics, waste management, everything in our daily life. So that is very important for people to see that it affects our lives, even at individual levels. So I think I should stop there. First of all, to thank all of you for inviting me and also for giving me this opportunity to speak about sustainable development, but also to remind you that it's not doom and gloom. We can do more. And that's why we need more of you as advocates, young people, to be involved in our movement, this movement to promote sustainable development and also to promote the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you so much. Let me stop here for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Ronan. And thank you for the mind-blowing motivation and in-depth overview you've shared with us as regards the evolution of sustainable development right from the 90s. And thank you for the motivation. I want to believe that each and every participant on YouTube, I want to believe that you have your notes full already. And just like he said, and we can do more as young change. I always refer to you as change makers. It's high time for us to go beyond mere words and get into action, accelerating the SDGs. Once again, on behalf of the leadership of SDS in Nigeria, we really want to appreciate you, sir, for your time. I totally understand what it cost you to be here this morning, and we sincerely appreciate, despite that it's inconvenience, and really appreciate the time which you've shared with us this morning. Thank you so much. And we want to assure you that for every Nigerian youth, every advocate on this call, they are going to get into action in accelerating their SDGs. I want to see your appreciation, everyone. I want you to use the comment section to appreciate our esteemed keynote speaker for today. And you know, that session, though it's just for 20 minutes, it's mind-blowing, and it's worth each and every one of you going back to listening to over and over and over again. And yeah, right about now, I would just like to quickly do some overview and brief as regards what the program timeline for this Cohort 6 is going to look like. I know that one of the alumni came on board earlier sharing our experience. Okay, I can see a lot of people saying, thank you, sir, and different clap and appreciation emojis. Awesome, 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 awesome. Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you. You can do better. You can do better. I love your energy. I love your energy. So I was going to say something, and I want you to put it in the comment section. We have an hashtag for this quote, and the hashtag is hashtag accelerate SDGs. Accelerate SDGs. Just put that hashtag, put it in the comment section. I want you to type in the comment section, hashtag accelerate, then title case A, then the SDGs in capital letter, then last S in small letter, hashtag accelerate SDGs. I want to see that in the comment section, everyone, where I get to quickly share more information about this Cohort 6 as regards the activities which we are going to be doing. This is very simple and very dynamic. I know that Cohort 1, Cohort 2, 3, they came on board and had something quite different. But 4 and 5 was also quite different, because then our primary mode of communication with them was email. We didn't use, we were not on WhatsApp with them all through the program. But based on feedbacks and interest of advocates, we had to onboard each and everyone on the WhatsApp platform, whereby you can also get to network. But this program is going to run for 16 weeks. As before, we have this program for 13 weeks, 13 weeks, years. And this cohort basically is going to run for 16 weeks, starting from today, and is going to end 13th of June, 2025. And every phase of this program is going to be mind-blowing. I mean, you know, every activities. The very first part is the masterclass session, which you're going to be having. The masterclass session is something that is an aspect which you must not miss. Very, very, very important, because just like we had this overview and about the evolution of sustainable development from Mr. Ronald, you are still going to have more information. You know, that is even in-depth. So I know that the facilitator that is doing evolution for sustainable development and concept of sustainable development is just going to, I know that Mr. Roland has given us an in-depth information. But beyond sustainable development, there are other things which you also going to learn on this program. There are modules that are focused on leadership and development. There are modules that are focused on climate solutions and environmental sustainability. There are modules that are focused on circular economy. There are modules that focus on renewable energy. Just like keynote mentioned earlier, that we need to also focus on the aspect of access to clean and affordable energy. And a very key part which we also prioritize for this program is design thinking, because very, very important for you to be able to make impact in your respective community. The aspect of the ideation aspect is something which we prioritize, design thinking and innovation. And also, as change makers, we also believe that you are also going to be applying for opportunities, and definitely are going to be having a training on grant application and proposal writing. And also, you also have a training on project management. And I think you also have a training on innovation and technology for sustainable development, just as very similar to the 5th point that has to do with digital economy that our keynote speaker said. And this, in all, you're going to be having 10 modules across the masterclass sessions. And you know, it's going to be loaded from different industry experts and leaders in the sustainable development space. I'll just ask a question. Okay, thank you, everyone. I can see a lot of people saying accelerate SDGs. I will just ask a question. There was a program guide that was shared with each and everyone, I think, when you were onboarded. If you've studied the program guide in detail, I want to see the rating. I want you to rate your level of understanding of that program guide. Ratings of 100%. If at all you studied it in detail, that means you can give yourself 100%. And if you've not studied or checked it at all, you can just put 0 in the comments section. So get to do that. I believe I'm talking to changemakers. Yes, I can. Janet said yes, but I want you to assess yourself based on the level at which you've reviewed and studied that document. And that's what I'm going to be using to brief us. Okay, I can see Favor. Favor said 70%. Jesus said 100. Jessica said 100 too. MC Spiritman said 50. Yeah, I can see a lot of people saying 50%, 100%, 80%. Oh, awesome, awesome. I'm glad that most of us, Monday said 0. So Monday, please, it's very important. There is no crime in that. It's never too late. You need to study that document. And one benefit which you're going to enjoy on this program is there are a lot of resources that are going to be shared with you beyond the masterclass session, resources, just like our keynote speaker mentioned, the voluntary national review, which is being currently worked on. Definitely, the previous editions are still documents which you can get to learn on. And hopefully at the back end, your learning back end, you will also have access to that. But more importantly, another key thing which you're going to be doing in this program, which will be of great advantage for each and everyone, is short courses. On SDG Academy, that's the learning part and the education arm of the SDSN Global. We have over 100 courses there, over 100 courses which you can get to learn on at your own convenience and at your own pace. But it's a main mandate for each and every advocate to complete at least 3 to 5. I remember Cohort 1, they completed over closely 10. There are people that have completed like 10 courses on SDG Academy. And at the end of each courses, you get certified. So it's a plus for you. And based on, depending on what your area of specialization is, you can get to select whichever course you would like to enroll or study on. And quickly moving on, I really don't want to take much of our time. Prof has mentioned, as we are spoken about the goals, the aims and objective of this program. And I remember I mentioned something, which is the very first objective. For this cohort, we have a total number of 2,981 advocates onboarded. Yeah, definitely we have a larger number of applicants, but we could only take 2,000, closely 3,000 advocates for this cohort. And definitely this cut across the 36 states in Nigeria, with Lagos and Abuja having the largest number of advocates. And I'm going to hail every advocate from Lagos and Abuja. Very good work which you are doing across your respective states. And I think across each state, the least number of advocates we have is like 8. And this analytics we're going to share it later in the course of the program, whereby you can also get to meet other SDG advocates. But I will just quickly move to the program structure. The program timeline itself has been shared with you. That's what I'm concerned about, and that's what I'm going to be speaking on about. The next step is the masterclass session, which is going to commence next week. You are going to be having 5 weeks of masterclass session, and each week you're going to be having 2 modules. And I've mentioned those areas which you're going to be learning on. And later in the month of March, you're going to be grouped across your respective states. Like I said, we have advocates across all the states of the Federation, plus FCT as well. And another key aspect that has to do with this program, I think we have the Hone School program. We have the Hone School program, whereby every advocate selects a school that is very close to his or her proximity, and you get to engage with the students, you get to enlighten them about the SDGs. If we are going to do our assessments, I can say that we've covered over 3,000 schools. We've covered over 3,000 schools in Nigeria, and we are hoping to do more, and we're also hoping to visit those schools because there is no school we visit, and we don't ensure that we ensure that we leave an impact. The advocate gets to leave an impact. each and everyone that are working on this team now, they've completed the SDG Advocate Program. And another key thing which we are going to be doing, I've spoken about the self-paced course, which is a very priority for each and every advocate. We have the interstate networking session, which you are meant to have twice in a month. That's every first Friday and every first and every third Saturday of the month. You're going to be having your interstate networking session whereby you get to network, you get to meet, but this is meant to be virtual. However, for those who are in a very close proximity from each other, you can get to meet physically depending on what your state teams decide. And also newly on this program, we are prioritizing book reading. Book reading, for this program, we are going to be reading three major books. Three books, one on leadership, one on social impact, and the other one on communication. Because there is no how if you want to do excellently well when it comes to making impact, leading development, and also establishing community development projects, you need to equip yourself with knowledge, not just things you hear alone, also things you read as well. So you're going to be reading three books. One will be for February and March, another one will be for April, another one, the last one will be for May and June. And at the end of the month, every Saturday, you are meant to do your book reviews across the respective states. But more importantly, you are not just being given this book for you to read, it's for you to digest and adopt the knowledge which you are getting from those books. And these are books written by legends and, you know, a lot of great people. And I want to believe that it's going to bless each and every one of you. And by 28th of March, we hope to complete the training. And at the end of the masterclass session, you're going to be having your assessment and knowledge evaluation. This is basically to test your knowledge, and for you to test your knowledge, not we just testing your knowledge alone, because we will use it as part of your scores to advance to phase 2, but it's also for you to test your knowledge if at all you really have an in-depth understanding of the SDGs and across those areas, circular economy, green economy. You're also going to be learning on blue economy. You know, life underwater is another important part, which a lot of us, our activities each and every day endanger them. And we also have to see there is a business part of it, which we are not getting to innovate to, but definitely in those sessions, you get to learn on that. And by 1st to 10th of April, you get to submit your proposal for SDG virtual advocacy and community-based projects. This is meant to be done interstate. It's going to be done by across different states, so you are not doing it individually. Let me make clarification on this phase 2 very well. You have the Own a School project, you have the SDG virtual advocacy, you also have the community-based projects. The Own a School project is something you are doing, is an activity you are carrying out personally across the respective states. And we've seen advocates that conducted training in secondary school, or it might be a secondary school or a primary school, but we've seen advocates that conducted training in the secondary school and still revisited them after the program, after being certified. So your activity, your engagement, and the impact you are making in the life of those kids, it's not just within the context of this program alone. You know, just like the speakers first said, one of the alumni said that even the two speakers, the moderator said the project that she's currently doing now was birthed through this Own a School project. And I want to admonish each and every one of us to make good use of this opportunity. Then for the virtual advocacy, this is a state, this is a group project which you're going to do alongside with your co-advocates in your state and the community-based project as well. And at the end of each of these activities, which is going to be in the month of May, we are all going to be submitting our report, which we are going to be assessed, and we are going to compile the results and grade and also notify the successful advocates. And we had a virtual graduation ceremony 13th of June 2025. I want to believe that we might not be able to give you every of the information that you need now, but on that program brief, if you study it very well, you are going to have every information you need. And because the Own a School project is well defined, community advocacy project. Every of those activities are well defined, but I'm just going to major on this. Then when it comes to community engagement, for community engagement on the WhatsApp group, I think the community engagement officer are going to speak with you regarding that. That's not within my jurisdiction. I believe Janet and her team are going to work on that. However, I believe the group is going to be open between Friday evening and Sunday, that's Monday morning, for each and every one of you to communicate and network and connect with each other. But more importantly, our next engagement is going to be next week, Friday, 10 a.m. GMT +1. I want to believe each and everyone are in Nigeria, and if you are not in Nigeria, ensure that you don't miss that time zone, GMT +1, 10 a.m. And I think, funny enough, that this program is specifically for Nigerians. We still had applicants from over 20 countries, not just in Africa alone, applying for this program, but we couldn't take them. And it shows the need and impact of we having this program in different countries, not just for Nigerians alone. However, Nigeria will keep setting the pace, and I'm glad that we are doing that anyway. And once again, congratulations to each and every one of you. And should you have any question or any concern, we don't want to keep this call too long because we have our esteemed guest, special guest of honor on this call. Thank you once again for your time. Thank you for being part of this opening ceremony, and thank you for the motivational messages which you've shared with us this morning. We greatly appreciate you, sir and ma. Thank you, Professor Popola. Thank you for your time, sir. I know you are joining 2 hours ahead of us. And thank you so much, Mr. Ronald. And we sincerely appreciate your time this morning. We appreciate the knowledge you've shared with us. And thank you very much, Rakwa. Rakwa is our lead globally for SDSN Youth. We sincerely appreciate the insights you shared with us this morning. I think at this point in time, I might want to excuse a special guest of honor, should in case they have other engagements for the day. However, for each and every advocate, if you have any question, there's a form that is going to be shared with you. I mean, if you have any question or if you have any issue regarding maybe joining the WhatsApp group, you have any technical issue or joining the WhatsApp group or accessing any form, that form you can get to complete it. The community engagement officer are going to reach out to you directly. But those of us that are saying the WhatsApp group is filled, we have different WhatsApp group for for this course mainly. So definitely you kindly fill the technical form, that form that has to do with your need, and the community engagement officer are going to pick it up from there. I don't know if there are questions, but I just don't want to keep each and every one of us too long on this call. For every other session, we are going to attend closely to you, and you have good time with your facilitators. I mean, they are experts that definitely you are going to learn greatly. You are going to learn greatly from. And at this point in time, I think I will just hand over to Oluwatoyin to do the close of the event. I think, Oluwatoyin, are you there, please? I'll just hand over to you right away. Okay, over to you.
All right, thank you very much. A huge thank you to our dear participants, esteemed speakers, and partners. We truly appreciate your time and insight so far. And as we conclude this section of the SDGs Advocate Programme, we want to sincerely thank everyone for taking time to join us to share their very useful insights, and also a huge advice to our advocates that the journey doesn't end here. We are just starting, and we look forward to welcoming you to more of our future programs where we continue to learn, to collaborate, and take action together. And once again, I'm saying thank you for being a part of this, and see you in the next masterclass section. Thank you once again.
All right, thank you, everyone. See you next week, Friday, 10 a.m. next week, Friday. And we hope to see each and everyone and connect further and learn further. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
We can be.
We must be
the first generation
to end extreme poverty.
The generation
most determined
to fight injustice and inequalities.
The generation that saves the planet from climate change.
And this is how it will get done. The global goals.
A 15-year plan
for everyone, everywhere.
With no one left behind.
We will live in a world
where nobody
anywhere lives in extreme poverty.
Where no one
goes hungry.
Where no one
wakes in the morning
asking if there will be food today.
We will live in a world where no child has to die
of diseases we know how to cure. And where proper health care
is a lifelong right for us all.
We will live in a world
where everyone
goes to school.
And education gives us the knowledge
and skills
for a fulfilling life.
We will live in a world where all girls and all women have equal opportunities
to thrive and be powerful and safe.
We cannot succeed if half the world is head down.
We will live in a world
where all people can get clean water
and proper toilets at home,
at school, and at work.
We will live in a world where
there is sustainable energy for everyone. Heat, light,
and power for the whole planet.
Without destroying the planet.
We'll live in a world where economies prosper and new wealth
leads to decent jobs
for everyone.
And we will live in a world where our industry,
our infrastructure, and our
best innovations
are not just used to make money, but to make all our lives better.
We will live in a world
where prejudices and extremes of inequality
are defeated
inside our countries
and between different countries.
Where people live in cities and communities
that are safe, progressive,
and support everyone who lives there.
Where we replace
what we consume. Planet where we put back what we take out of the earth.
We live in a world that is decisively rolling back the threat of
climate change.
Where we restore and protect the life in our oceans and seas. Where we restore
and protect life on land.
The forests,
animals, the earth itself.
With peace between and inside countries.
Where all governments are open
and answer to us for what they do at home and abroad.
And the justice rules.
With everyone equal before the law.
Where all countries and we their people
work together
in partnerships of all kinds
to make these goals a reality.
For everyone, everywhere.
These are the United Nations global goals
for sustainable development.
Let's get to work. Let's make it